Welcome back to the Baschamania podcast. I'm your host, Justin Basch, and what a show we have in store for you today. A Labor Day special that truly shouldn't disappoint. Before we dive into this show, I want to let you know that this show is brought to you by our friends at Attack. If you're watching this, you see that I'm wearing the Attack USA t-shirt. Big fan of this t-shirt. Thank you to Nick for sending it over. And guys, did you see this? You know what I'm talking about if you're watching this. The Attack Preseason Elite Wrestling Showdown. Introducing the Attack Preseason Wrestling Showdown. From now until November 30th, 10 of the nation's top college wrestlers will battle it out to see who will outwork the rest and be crowned the Attack Showdown champion. From David Carr and Braxton Amos to Trent Hidley and Real Woods, they've got some absolute hammers, some of the best college wrestlers in the country competing to earn some cash. Yes, some cash. And I love that these wrestlers are taking advantage of NIL, and I love that Attack is putting money back into the athletes' pockets. This is smart marketing. This is smart business. This is just great for wrestling overall. Be sure to follow Attack, ATAC, and watch to see who's winning and who's climbing that leaderboard to earn a nice preseason payday. They're attack.app on social, atac.app, and they're Attack ATAC in the Apple App Store. Go download the app, follow them on social, see what they're all about. You're not going to be disappointed. They've got a lot of cool things coming up. I've been saying that for some time. This wrestling showdown is just one of many cool things I think you're going to really start to see from Attack. So go and download the app, follow them on social. You won't regret it. All right. And now let's get into today's show. And we're back, episode 135. Coffee Talk is back. Coffee Cenzo, Cali Cenzo is back.
What's up?
And
Coffee
we got
Daddy.
A guest.
I do this now.
Coffee Daddy. And
Coffee
we got
Daddy.
a guest who you guys all probably thought like we forgot about this episode. But this is what it takes. I was literally preparing for a party for 100 people tomorrow, and I got the text that this is going to go down. Pause everything. Let's roll.
Let's go. Hey, Coffee Daddy. Is this a West Coast thing?
It's my West Coast thing. I don't know.
All
If
right.
it isn't, then I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to be
yeah.
disappointed if I don't see that at tournaments. That's the new celebration this year for Stanford.
Not the way you do it, though.
No, definitely not.
Not the way you do it. So, Willie, what's up, dude?
Nothing much, man. I feel like we're getting back to wrestling a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's just me that's getting back to wrestling. Because I don't know. I said on my show a couple days ago, with the politics, it was hard for me. I don't know if you call it writer's block or what, but with everything that was going on in like Afghanistan, it was tough for me to like rank 8th graders and stuff like that.
Oh, wait, really? That wasn't a priority to you?
No.
When the Taliban was taking countries over?
Yeah, I had a hard time writing, but I feel like I'm getting back to it now. I wrote an article today about Nico Provo heading out with you guys. And this week, me and Corby will get on here and do the trial stuff. So I feel
a
like
typo in that article, by the way. I was just going to text you.
there is.
It says Rob Cole was thinking about moving to Cornell.
Oh, it does. Yeah, he thought about that a long time ago.
He did think about that. I don't think he thinks of. Well, he's thinking about going out to Cornell, in the season this year. Whenever we go wrestle them, I'm sure that's on his brain a little bit. But
Yeah, it's a really tricky situation. I would assume. I mean, with Rob being close with everybody at Cornell, but also starting a new thing at Stanford, and he recruited kids that in this last cycle, and now those Rob leaves, and guys like Nico Provo are thinking, hey, maybe I should go to Stanford, and then Provo does go, and then Mike Gray probably feels a little slighted, and you're scheduled to duel this year. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I'm not 100% sure on Mike Gray and Rob's dynamic, but hey, wrestling's wrestling. It's just
like, I wonder if there was a text
part of the game.
back and forth.
There's probably a phone conversation or something. But
Well, I often wondered. Listen, sports are about winning, and I don't know. I've often wondered this: if I was a coach, would I stop recruiting a guy that was committed and not signed? And the answer is probably no. I probably would not. I don't know. call me that's like an unwritten baseball rule, right? It's like,
yeah,
it's not really a rule. It's just a gentleman's agreement. I'm not a gentleman.
I have yet to personally do that.
Yeah.
Being a coach for a whole month and a half, 2 months so far. I've yet to do that. I don't know what direction we're going to head in. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think you're 100% right, though, Willie, because I know that there's coaches that I know still want guys if they can't get them, even if there's a chance after a year, 2 years, 3 years. They're like, do you want it more for a year, for 2 years? You know it happens.
Well, especially that, there might have been a point in time where that was a faux pas, and maybe it's still considered a faux pas, but with the transfer portal being what it is now, it's like it's free agent season.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's definitely different now even than as it was whenever I was going into school a few years ago, just like, especially like you were saying with the transfer portal, right? And we've heard things now about Nick Sirianni possibly is talking to Kale again or something like that. So who freaking knows? I guess you can kind of just do whatever at this point.
Would that be the first time that ever happened? A kid goes to a school, leaves another Big Ten school, and then goes back to the original school? Like, has that ever happened before?
I don't think that's ever happened in any sport.
There's no way, right? There's no way.
Because remember, there was a point in time where if you went to a second school, you had to sit out of you.
Right.
So in the past, it probably would have been unfeasible.
Right. Yeah. So especially if you're transferring, say Nick's scenario, right? Just hypothetically say that he would transfer to Rutgers from Penn State. That's a year. If he transfers from Rutgers back to Penn State, that's at least another year. Yeah. So like, there's no way people have done that. But hey, if you could do it now and that's what you're into.
Well, I feel like there's more freedom than ever for the student athlete.
Oh yeah, especially with the,
speaking of freedom,
name, image, likeness, and everything. Yeah.
Can we? I think Willie, I think you tweeted this yesterday too. I tweeted out that the Wrestling Observer is reporting that Gable signed with WWE.
Yeah.
I don't know why everybody thinks he's done with Minnesota. I still think he's wrestling this year at Minnesota.
Well, I don't know why people think he's done. I can understand them asking questions. Oh, he signed with WWE. The natural question is kind of, is he done? But there's two things that went along with your tweet. Is number one was that people just assumed that he was done, number one. And number two, people were questioning the veracity of it when it was Dave Meltzer, who, as far as I know, is like the most connected WWE reporter ever. So, I believe it. And the question to can he compete or will he compete or is he done is that I've talked to the Minnesota staff and he's coming back.
Yeah, I mean, eyeball test, I would think that he would be pretty competitive at that weight. So I think that I think it's a good decision for him. No, I mean, like, you can make money now, and like he was saying it last year, even before it came out. He's like, I might come back. Whenever he was on the show with us, Justin, and I was like, yeah, he's coming back for another year.
Yeah.
And I mean, I want to see it. Who doesn't?
Yeah. And he didn't text me saying, yo, that's not true. Like, take it down. Like, he would have texted me if it wasn't true, number one.
Yeah.
He sees everything. On top of that, I think Vince McMahon and WWE have so much money. They're like, we'll pay you now, start in a year or two. I think they're paying him to keep him from UFC, MMA, NFL, anything else. Lock him into a contract, go compete. Nobody's going to beat him in college.
Well, I saw an interesting tweet yesterday, and just from, I said this on one of my shows too, just from a selfish standpoint, I like when wrestlers go to MMA rather than WWE, just because I prefer watching that. That's something I watch. To go to WWE, I will have to go out of my way to do something I normally don't do to catch you on WWE. Yeah. That being said, I saw a tweet after you tweeted that he signed. I saw a tweet saying, "Oh my God, he passed up an 8K offer to go to UFC." It's like, yes, exactly, right? So if I was Vince McMahon, and I was Gable, I would sign that for the future. Whether Gable says, I want to compete in college this year, or, I'm going to go to WWE, or I'm going to wait to go to WWE for 2 years. Who cares? Vince McMahon, they're not losing anything on their asset, right? That they're getting into.
Yeah, he's what, 21 years old. I think he has a little bit of a little longevity left with his athleticism. Just a couple more years probably. But yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't do that.
Well, and everybody kept saying like the smart thing to do is potentially go WWE, build your brand like Brock Lesnar did. Then when you're 26, 27, 28, 29, go fight for a few years.
You just walk right into a title fight. Yeah.
Right. Just like
you just walk into a title fight. Did. Yeah.
Especially that, I don't know, who's to say that it's going to be this long, like this for that long. But frankly, the 265-pound weight class in UFC has not been deep. That's why some guys, they can fight 1 or 2 times and then fight for the title. Right. So I don't know. I don't think they lose anything there. I think both WWE and wrestling gain a lot if Gable wrestles in college, because can you imagine the numbers we do good numbers for NCAA viewership regardless. But now you're going to pull in the WWE guys who's going to say, hey, Saturday night in March, let's watch Gable Steveson, our number 1 prospect. Let's watch his last college match ever.
Yeah. And quite possibly their number 2 prospect with AJ Ferrari. Like, I'm dead serious.
Yeah,
like, so like, why would the WWE not want AJ Ferrari? He's perfect.
Yeah. And there's other storylines they could work to, because they have
we need to get him back on here.
We can get him back on.
He is a piece of work.
Jacob Kasper also debuts Tuesday, and they can do something.
Does he have a different name?
Julius Creed.
Julius Creed. I feel like Jacob Kasper is like
that. I love that name. That's a character name.
I think that's character name enough. Yeah.
I didn't even realize Julius Creed was his name. I started seeing wrestling people like supporting Julius Creed, and I'm like, man, I'm out in the loop. There must be an up and coming prospect.
So Julius Creed is Jacob Kasper, and Drew Kasper is going to be Brutus Creed. So they're doing a brother.
I think it'd be tag team.
Julius and Brutus.
We're gonna see Tuesday night at 8. They make their debut. I really don't understand this whole crowd of people that, like, when I posted the Gable thing yesterday, so many people are hating on him. Like, what a waste of athleticism. What a waste of talent. Are you kidding me? Like,
idiots.
I don't understand these people.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, very, very myopic in my opinion. I mean, but yet those same kind of people like cheer Adam Kuhn for going to the Titans.
Right.
Oh, hey, Jan Johnston is on the Titans practice squad.
Is he?
Yeah. So there you go.
And Jan Adam Kuhn got cut.
Yeah. Jan Johnson, former Penn State wrestler.
Was he Governor Mifflin?
Mm-hmm.
The PA boy.
He was like a 2-time PA state champ.
Yeah.
Willie, how's Intermat going?
Intermat's going good. It's well, first of all, it's rewarding to me to like get back with a team. I have a team with like Earl Smith as my kind of top dog, and then we have some young freelance writers, and they just enjoy it, man. They just really enjoy it, and they both enjoy the editorial process. Coming up with ideas. We have meetings every week, and Earl gives them assignments, or they're free to pitch their ideas, and so from start to finish, they're brainstorming ideas, coming up with a plan for the week or the month, or in some aspects of the season, and they're coming up with their story ideas, and they're contacting the coaches or athletes, then they're executing the stories, then Earl's proofing it, and we have meetings. And so there is a work environment, there's a fraternization, right? Where we're like a little family, where we're like a little team, and it's rewarding in that way. And there's always this. The fact of the matter is, and I wish it wasn't this way, but the fact of the matter is, college wrestling's king and folk style's king, and so even high school wrestling probably outdraws, at least domestically, viewership from world competition. So we always say it goes like this, right? In like September, October, November, December, January, February, and then like May, June, July. It's like this trough of when you're talking about raw numbers and page views and viewership and stuff. And so Intermat's performance has been good, and it's not even the season yet. So I'm optimistic. We're all excited.
Well, I hear your guys' short film on Stanford wrestling is going to be a ball. So
yeah,
that's what I've heard.
We do got to step up our game doing bigger projects like that and stuff. But
are you doing business kind of stuff? Like, obviously it's your company now. Are you doing more of the business side of things?
A little bit, yeah. But not. I mean, it's not really my forte, but
yeah, no.
Well, you can't answer a text message, so
right.
I understand that because it's not mine either, and I'm learning that also right now.
Yeah, it's not. It's the I want to look at Super 32 junior high results and project who the best incoming freshmen are. Right. I want to look at the landscape of NCAA and say who's the best incoming freshmen that are.
Who is the best incoming freshman?
Well, the ones that are, I'd like to do an article because a lot of people are starting for their fantasy drafts. What incoming freshmen are actually going to start this year? So I want to do an article on that and do some research on that.
Do you have any off the dome right now? Because I'm curious.
No, I don't actually.
There's a spreadsheet for that.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Well, I think Facundo, if he starts, right?
That's who I was thinking immediately is Facundo. Yeah.
I think he's the biggest impact guy.
They'll probably have a couple guys go right away.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'd rather dig into that stuff than, I don't know, come up with a marketing budget for Facebook for the month or something like that.
Right.
But I kind of stubbed my toe a little bit. I kind of failed to see some opportunities. I think I could have had a couple events. I mean, editorially, for Matt Scouts and Intermat, the stories we're doing and the rankings we're doing, they're all good and stuff, and I feel really comfortable with it. But I have yet to do my own event, which is something I'd like to do, and I probably could have done that, but
How soon do you think we will see a Willie Rand event?
Soon. We would have seen a high school all-star who's number one type of event, but I got slowed up with it, and then when I did have it, like I talked to the guys at Lehigh, right, because I'm really familiar with them, and they were like, "Hey, we might go into lockdown again," and then I was like, "You know what? I'll save it for next year." Yeah. Not lockdown, but they were like, our campus is going into procedures. And I was like, I'm not getting into this thing where at the 11th hour it's canceled because of COVID. Right. I'll wait till next year. So that, and there's a couple other ideas I have in the back burner. I
was about to say, so like if you did do an event, it would be more like a high school. That would be like kind of like the age thing.
Yeah. I'm trying to do a couple high school things that'll be on the Matt Scouts channel, and I'm trying to do one. There's one big college thing that it won't happen until next year, but it's big, and I would put that on Intermat.
Okay.
I love it. I think what you said back when you were talking about why you wanted Intermat, about Flo has kind of lost like the personality side of like editorial. Like people aren't tuning in, at least what I see on Twitter and stuff, like because they want so-and-so's preview. And Intermat seems like it's becoming that. You're seeing the rise of like podcasts like this and other media where it's not so, it doesn't feel so, not monopolized, but it almost feels like you have to watch in the past a Flo preview because that's where you watch the event. Now, it's, even if you look at like Flo's homepage now, it looks like it's gearing up towards just media and video, not really editorial and news, it seems like. So I think Intermat's potential for that is huge.
Yeah, I mean, I can say that I personally, I look at Willie's stuff. I think if I'm trying to look at like a big board or rankings or something like that, I look at your stuff, and then like I'll compare something. But I'm
really confident with that. Like, I mean, it's no surprise. I think my stuff. I say it all the time. I ain't afraid to say it. There's a little cockiness to it, there's confidence there.
Be cocky about it. Yeah.
Well, listen, it's tough because some people think I'm a dick for being that way. But the difference is I know how many hours I put in, and then I look at these other ones and I'm like, they just don't know.
Who writes the previews on Flo now? I feel like
I don't know. It's funny because I used to know who pushed every button there, and I don't know anything that goes on there anymore.
I like because I'll look at it like briefly, and I'm like, I have no idea who's writing this right now. I don't much care either. Because like you said, I'd rather listen to a prediction show or a preview show with you guys. Yes.
Who's BASCH gonna pick for trials at here? And
we just pick everybody we like, to be honest with you.
It's not a hard game.
Yeah, it's just like, in the past it was like, oh, this guy's wearing blue and white, we're gonna pick him. But Willie, now it's Cardinal. We're wearing Cardinal.
Yeah.
That's
what
we got.
Somebody had said on Twitter the other day when I was like in a debacle with these people mad at me because a mask was my final straw for not going to an event. And long story short, somebody was like, you're going to lose fans and followers for this. And I'm like thinking in my head, like, number one, you're dead wrong. Number two, like, America as a whole has never wanted authenticity more, even if they disagree with you. You have gone from 20,000 to 29,000 followers since leaving Flo.
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. I was, just reflecting on my lawsuit status, which, by the way, it ended nearly 1 year ago.
Let's go.
We're 10 months removed from the final day of the trial.
What are we doing for the anniversary?
I still don't know what my fate is. I have no idea what's happening in the court system. I know that the two sides were fighting about money. If there happens to be damages, if what the judge rules in favor of the.
When are they going to rule on that? If there's damages or not?
Right. So they did all this stuff on damages in case the judge rules a certain way. I was like, in my head, I was like, you guys are fighting. We're paying all these legal fees for this lawyer and this lawyer to fight for something that might not even apply. The judge might not even award damages. So who gives a shit? Right.
Yeah, that's wild.
But we're paying all the lawyers to fight about it preemptively. But I don't know what's going on with that. But I was thinking about it the other day and thinking about like the allegations and the intimations that the lawyers made to me in the court. And they were like, well, you had 0 followers when you started, and now you have 20,000. And the intimation there is that I was only what I was because they built me up. Right.
That's the truth. Yeah.
That's what they're saying. Right. So if that's true, and I was only relevant because of Flo, then you shouldn't worry
Christian
about
Piles, but
then you shouldn't worry about me leaving because I'm nothing without you. So what are you suing me for?
There was so many moments like that. Like I remember watching the trial. Like I haven't been that like consumed by a trial since the O.J. Simpson trial.
It was kind of crazy.
Everybody was watching it and commentating on it. Like there's so many points that everybody wanted to say. Like, well, what about this? Like everybody all of a sudden becomes attorneys at home.
Well, back to the mask thing, right? It all comes full circle. And I think that, I'm well over Flo. I'm just calling it as I see it. And the times that I drop in to check out their show, they're milk toast. I don't know if they're, for a long time they protected what they said to insulate them from any criticism from coaches or anything, but it's just become more milk toast and more just not entertaining. And so I don't think they have the talent.
Milk toast.
And I don't think they have the talent to carry a show. They have the knowledge, right? I mean,
correct.
When you follow the sport every day, it's hard not to know what's going on. So they know what's going on. They just fail to entertain, and they fail to even say what they think. And so to the mask thing, people want authenticity, and people want, I mean, look, I might have suppressed my followers when I say that I'm critical about the administration's handling of Afghanistan.
Yep.
But I ain't losing followers because some of them agree with me, and some of them, whether they disagree with me or not, just like that I'm speaking my mind. So to be honest, I don't care. I like that I have 30,000 followers, but if I had 10, I wouldn't. If it goes down to 10 right now, I don't care. I'm not. I'm
all right, everybody unfollow Willie. Everyone
Well,
unfollow Willie. Unfollow me. Unfollow Willie.
Don't unfollow me. I don't have as many followers as them. Willie, that brings up a good point that, even with this podcast, I'm protective of relationships and I think about them. You obviously don't want to piss somebody off.
Right.
Now that you haven't had, like, for the last year, it's been your discretion on if you piss somebody off. How has that gone with you? Like, you don't seem to shy. I'm sure there's things you don't say to not piss people off blatantly.
Yeah.
But what's that level where when you were with Flo, it was obviously way too critical where you couldn't say nearly what you wanted to. And now that your future's in your hands and everything you do is in your hands, what's that level of where you like protect somebody or not? Well, not even protect, but like just worry about it.
I mean, frankly, I'm operating the same way now that I did back then. Only back then I'd get called to the principal's office or have a beef about it.
Wait, who is the principal?
Well, it was a really goofy situation there, and that's part of why I didn't want to be there anymore either, because I was in charge, and then I got promoted, and I said, Christian, you do it. And so Christian was there, and then I said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this job. This promotion, I want a demotion because I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to.
Didn't you go to like Flo Track or Flo Rodeo or something at one point?
Well, I went to a managing editor, which meant I would be ahead of like, I would oversee like 6 or 7 sports, right? And one of them was wrestling. But like, I mean, to be honest, there was one time that like I was managing editor over Flo or wrestling, and I changed the headline because it was like, so I would work on with the team how the numbers were doing and the overarching success or failures and the strategy and this and that. And like Christian would handle the day-to-day, right? Like the wording of a title, what they're going to run today and what story to feature and everything like that. And we'd have like creative different. There was a time specifically that, I would change a title or something. And me and Christian would get into it.
Over a title?
Don't change my title. I'm like, well, that title.
Your title sucked.
Your title sucked.
Your title sucked.
Right? Like we used to get into it. He would, instead of I was on those guys all the time for it. Instead of looking for a picture from a professional photographer, they would take a screenshot of a match which looked like 10-yard fight Nintendo from 1984, and I would like
just like pause the match while it's like running.
You can't use that as the main image. So we'd get in fights all the time about it, but yeah. So there's a changing dynamic there all the time, and if I said, and I did say one time, I'm done following. I tweeted, I'm done following this Soriano circus because it's nuts and I'm not getting sucked in. Right. And so that turned into a whole argument. Right. So what I'm doing different now is not much. I still do what I said over there. I just don't get in trouble for it because I'm my own boss. Right?
Yeah.
It's like I don't censor myself any more, any less. I just don't have to worry about the repercussions of it. I just tell it like I see it, and yeah.
It's funny how much sticks, like the what's going on in Columbus. You still see that, like, that quote with a different school, city, location, whatever, when something happens. It's
I can't believe it's funny. It really is funny. And, so that was very public that was an issue, right? Like, because it came out in the trial and everybody was talking about it. And people said, what's going on in Columbus? But I talked to the Ohio State coaches. They came up to me. Jaggers came up to me at trials and was like, Willie, I just want you to know, man, I didn't think that was going to blow up. Like, I didn't mean it that way. I was just like, right. And I was like, no, man, you're all good. You're sticking up for your program, which was what you should do, And so it was good to, clear the air there.
I hope we don't see what's going on in Palo Alto tweet, because I
don't know what you guys are talking about. So we'll just leave it at that. But I do know what is going on in Palo Alto, and it's some pretty awesome stuff. So we can talk about that another time.
How's my boy Berger?
Dude, he's awesome. He's ready to go.
You whoop his ass?
No, he's good.
I know he's good.
He's good, man. I'm excited for him for next weekend. I'm sure I'll see you out there. Yeah. But he's coming ready to scrap. I love wrestling with him. He's such a good flow. He's a good dude too, man. I like
he's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah,
I like him together. It's a great team.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, I am super biased about the people I work with. I mean, as I'm sure you guys know, but I think we have a great crew over here. I love our coaching staff. I love our RTC guys, and our athletes. They're a bunch of Stanford kids, so it's like not a bunch of Penn State school kids. It's Stanford kids, so they're a little different, but they're like they're freaking awesome. Like they're super good. They come in ready to work every day. Like I can't brag enough right now. So
yeah,
we're rolling.
What's been the best part about being out there in Palo Alto?
I think, like I said, like my favorite part of being out here so far is just working with my team. That's really it. Like, like I like how Willie said, if I can get out of the office and my guys want to come in and wrestle with me in the morning, I'll do that all day. Like I'll wrestle with my team all day.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's like, all right, let's do a podcast episode 10 tomorrow. I get a text at 8. I got to go roll so and so.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm
I
super,
get it.
And I'm super okay with it. Like they want to come in and learn. Like I'm super happy to help them. And after trials, I'm gonna have Tyler teach a few things because he has some really good stuff. And we got G Baby Grant Leith in the house too, and he's a good technician. Ben Honus in the RTC, he's pretty dang good. He wrestled. Did you remember his match with Ferrari at the trials?
Yeah,
that was nuts.
That was crazy.
That was nuts. But yeah, no, Ben's a good dude. He's tough.
What was that, like 11-9 or something? It was like high scoring.
It was like 14-12.
Yeah, it was definitely high scoring.
Yeah, but we just have a good crew here. I'm really excited.
How's Enoch?
Enoch's awesome. He he does a lot of the compliance stuff. He's really good with that. I mean, he's a PhD in education.
He's an awesome dude.
He's one of my favorites. I live with him. Like we're roommates.
Really?
Yeah. And it's just we get along super well. I think we work together very well. He's fun to wrestle around with. He likes to wrestle too. So like if we're at practice, then I'm just like rolling around, like we'll grab each other, start going.
He's a big boy.
Oh, he's slapped together. He wakes up every day, does like 200 push-ups at like 6 in the morning, like every day. Yeah. Another dude, you're gonna love this one. So we've been having an RTC practice all summer, and SF State's been coming. Their coach is Jason Welch.
Yeah.
So Jason Welch has been coming, bringing some of his guys. Jason's awesome.
Yeah.
And he's so good. He's really fun to roll around with. He has some awesome technique. He's the man.
What's Coach Cole doing? Is he at the yacht club?
Every time Cenzo calls me, I get a new update on him and Cole dynamic, and I love it.
Cole's a man. I don't know what he's doing right now, but you know, he sleeps for about 4 hours a night. He's about 12 to 4 ish.
Yeah.
I feel like, man, he's hustling, you know, he's just trying to expand us, you know, just our brand as much as possible right now. And, you know, just making connections, things like that. And, you know, he's the best at that. So like it's getting smoother, right? It was just a ton of work at first because we had two recruiting classes at the same time, and we pretty much still are. So it's getting easier and easier.
How has the uncertainty of Stanford's program at one point? I mean, it made it impossible to recruit, and
right,
because of certain, you know, almost pointless to recruit. Not you have to hustle, but you guys are still in a pretty solid position, right? I mean, it hurt you, but not like crushed.
So yeah, we you know, we have a few rock stars in our team right now. A few guys that are really, really talented that you know, and they're super excited to work with us. And, you know, they're, like I said, they're just good dudes. They listen to us. They, you know, they bust their butt. But we don't have any kids coming in this year.
Yeah. Because,
you know, they weren't going to have a team, right? No kids coming in this year, but for the following year, you know, the seniors in high school now, we have a few commits. We have a few more actually that aren't really public yet. Those will probably come out in a little bit, but yeah, I think we're going to have a pretty good class. And then the following years, I think we're going to crush it.
Yeah.
And I mean, who doesn't want to go to Stanford? It's freaking Stanford.
Yeah. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. And it's
one time
one of the best schools in the world. Like, yeah, of course.
One time I was sitting with Martin Floriani, the founder of Flo.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, you remember Eric Morris?
Of course. Yeah.
Right. His dad was doing a lot of stuff for
Top 100
on like the state level, right?
Yeah.
And so Eric was ranked like 1 or 2 in the country at like 170, 182 or something like that. And we were at the Beast of the East, and it was me, Eric Morris, Mark Morris, and Martin. And Eric said, "Yeah, I just committed to Harvard." And Martin said, "Really? Why'd you commit to Harvard?" And Eric looked at him and said, "Because it's Harvard."
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you really can't go wrong, right? I mean, Stanford.
Well, yeah, you know, we're like Harvard, but you know, we have palm trees and 75 and sunny all the time.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's pretty much the same.
What about with the grades when you're recruiting people? Does that come into effect at all? Like, I know it's obviously not an easy school to get into.
Stanford's extremely hard to get in, right? Yeah. So they like, and all I've heard is that it's harder to get in than it is to get through. So, and you know, we don't really have the pick of the litter, right? Because you have to have pretty dang good grades. So, hey, if you're listening to this and you're like in 8th grade or something like that, get good freaking grades. You come to Stanford. But like, no, yeah, you have to have good grades. You got to take, you know, advanced classes. You got to do all that stuff, and then we can look into it. But you know, if you're taking regular classes and you're getting C's and things like that, then it's probably not going to happen.
Hey, I don't know if you can state this on the record or publicly, but
not another trial.
Not another trial.
I'll let you know.
Do you get slots? Do you get any athlete academic? You're not quite Stanford grades, but we can kind of get you in.
Not exactly. No.
Not exactly.
No, not really. I think maybe they like. I really don't know, to be honest with you. But we don't. It's not like, hey, like we get like 1 or 2 superstars a year that don't really. They don't meet the requirements. Okay, we don't do that.
Yeah.
I got a surprise for you guys.
Find it.
Yeah,
I find it funny. Like, I'm not saying that Marshawn Lynch. I'm not saying who looked J.O. I ain't saying.
Can y'all hear me?
J.O., what's up?
What up, kid?
What's up, boys?
I told J.O. you had to hop on real quick.
Right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, Easton, dude, he looks like he's in a city though.
J.O., how's New York, man?
Love it. It's beautiful. Everything's
I told
good.
J.O. who was coming on today. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'll hop on real quick."
Oh, we got the Easton crew in the house.
You gotta text me when you're back here.
I had to show some love.
Hey, you look big. You look good.
Yeah. Hey, it's not a problem when you weigh out at 71 kilos every day. So
I was gonna say, when's that descent starting?
Man, I touched down yesterday, just rolling around.
Did you?
Yeah. So it's there's those thoughts in my mind, right, that are like, you can make 65.
just do
You
it.
want to do it? You want to do it?
Hey, if you want to go 65, I'm super okay with that.
I would love to. You know, I love throwing the monkey wrench in anything. Right?
Yeah. Hey, you
Last
should drop
minute
down.
entry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you should do it, bro.
Stop it. On another note, it's good. I feel good at 70, but I'm improving. My wrestling's improving, right? We had Georgians here for a month.
Yeah.
You know, and I really got to work my parts here and learn some turns and really defense that'll allow me to wrestle with freedom on my feet, not worried about giving up takedowns, but also, you know, extending score. So 65 is always in the thought process, right?
Right.
But you know, right now it's 70 feels good. I feel good. I'm just excited to go and compete, right?
Heck yeah.
Great weight out there.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, listen, I got the Jersey City and 70 made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Hey, there's too much good pizza and food, but you know, still staying strict, but it feels good, right? I feel like I'm back to myself where I'm in the room and I'm learning every day, right? I'm focused on getting better, not focused on losing weight. So I'm excited for this weekend.
How you liking the city? I mean, you went from Easton to Stillwater to Chapel Hill to the city. You've lived in every kind of neighborhood in the country.
Right. I love it, right? But even since I left Stillwater, I'm not gonna lie, Stillwater's grown on me. Right.
Yeah.
So
Really?
I love all the nice places, but if you were to ask me, you know, home is Easton, but my home is Stillwater. Right. When people are like, "You're gonna go back home?" I'm like, I love Stillwater. I love the country. And don't get me wrong, the city's nice. It's good to have the resources and see life. But I'm a homebody most of the time. I'm like, listen, there's too much people sometimes, but
yeah,
good transition.
I feel that big time.
I love it, and I can't complain. I'm close to family. I'm close to the 610 Willie, so we're not complaining at all. But I'm far enough away, right? Far enough away, but close enough.
My favorite towns. People laugh at me sometimes because I like Stillwater. I love Lincoln, Nebraska. I like Laramie. I like college towns. You get to know people. You get to know your spots. There's no hustle bustle.
State college.
Yeah.
Right. They're awesome little towns. They are. They grow on you.
So they call Palo Alto the State College of the West Coast. That's what they call it.
I don't know if you can compare anything to Palo Alto, but after I saw the pictures of it, I was like, hold on. This is paradise.
he's like, let me rethink this whole New York thing real quick.
let me just go and tear up that little paper I signed real quick.
Hey, but, you're welcome to come out at any time.
Bash, maybe that's how we put together the greatest RTC ever. Maybe me and you, Justin, we start a RTC in Honolulu. And just everybody comes out because it's
I'll tell you one thing.
Me and Jay are the coaches.
But if we go to Honolulu, you know, we're gonna already have Dake's gonna show up just because he's like, listen, functional patterns.
He'll be naked the whole time.
Right.
He'll be walking around naked in our outdoor facility.
Yeah,
it's not gonna work.
Your whole body got to get sun, dude.
Right.
Not just the top, but everything's good. How's everything with you guys? Willie, it's always good to see you. Bash,
good to see you, buddy.
I always been poking at you. I think I talked to Bash more than I talked to my mom. Right?
Hey, Justin's just an easy chat, man.
Easy.
Just easy.
And Jay's got some cool stuff coming up that we're gonna release soon. Really cool stuff.
Soon. I went into my collection of shoes, and I'm doing, as you know, the little raffles of my gems.
Okay.
Right. I'm too big of a sneakerhead, so when I have these shoes, to be honest, it's like I want to hold on to them, but I don't want to wear them. It's like having those perfect pair of shoes that you're like, I can't put these on, but they're so beautiful. Right. So it's like, let me give them to the youth, the future of wrestling, maybe change a kid's life, you know, go win some state titles in them and they'll get put to use. And on another note, it tracks eyes to my website, and I can start giving, the wrestling community the drip they need.
See, I have my custom Cenzo shoes that just kind of sit on top of my office.
I want those for the shelf. I'm moving the shelf like into play once I get either the Cenzo shoes. Like,
yeah. And like those, there's no way I'd ever sell those, and I can't wear them either. They kind of just sit there and look cool. But like, I don't know. Like you said, like I can't bring myself to wear them. Like I wore them literally one time for one match. Didn't like that was it.
Which match
And
was
that's
it again?
right? Like
I wrestled Ohio State.
Who made him?
Dodo. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I
got some Stanford shoes coming soon that he's been working on for a little bit for me. So those are going to be awesome. He sent me a few teaser pics, but I'm excited for those. They're going to be freaking awesome. It's going to, all the kids are going to come here with the shoe game. You know what I'm saying? So
it's so hard, right? Every time I get a custom pair of shoes, I'm too nice, right? As soon as I come off the mat, if I'm wearing them, the first kid that's like, "Can I have your shoes?" I'm like, take them.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like,
for you listening that are going to the World Team Trials this weekend, just ask him for his shoes.
Hey, no lie. If you're the first kid to ask me for my shoes and I am done wrestling, they're yours.
Do you ever have somebody ask you for your shoes after the quarters?
What if I just go in the crowd with the kids and I ask?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You don't really pay attention.
Well, then I got to show love. If Willie or Cenzo asks, they get them. But I've had a kid. So true story. Back in the day, I was at the Bill Farrell. I actually was wrestling 70 kilos at the time. And that this kid comes up to me. Little black kid comes up to me. So yeah, can I have your shoes? Long story short, I get to this is after the second round. I get to the end of the tournament. I ended up taking third. I lost in the semis to Adam Hall. But I take my shoes off. I give them to the kid that ends up being Ja'Cory Teamer.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
So
that's pretty cool.
That established a connection with me and Teamer. And then at the time, I was at Arizona State.
Oh, right? Yeah. Wow.
So,
and look what you did, man.
Come full circle, and Teamer comes to Arizona
how
State.
old are you?
Look what you did.
Me? I'm 31.
I'm like doing the age numbers in my head. Like,
I actually heard a pretty similar story about Josh Saunders with Cornell.
Oh yeah.
Apparently Frank Pirelli one year during like the trophy presentation, like there was like a kid just down on the mat and he just like picked him up and threw him on his shoulder and they took the picture with this kid like in a picture and it was Josh Saunders.
Yep. See.
Yeah.
So everybody listening that's recruiting, especially you.
Yeah.
Cenzo.
I'm listening too.
Right there's the blueprint, bro.
Yeah, that's
find them young, put them in a
find them young
and
hope they get really good.
Yeah, right.
And then boom.
I think
got him.
I think at the time Teamer was already really, really good.
Yeah,
all those guys coming out of that area with Bogard, and Vito, and Yanni.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you got some studs, but things come full circle, and hopefully, if we ever meet at 70 kilos, he'll remember that.
Oh yeah, it'll be haunting him. Maybe what if he has the shoes still and he wears them?
I'll ankle pick them and take them off him.
There you go. Winner gets the shoes. Yeah.
Right.
Winner gets the shoes. Have you guys looked at Jo, have you looked at the other weights at the trials?
I have. There's some I mean, you look at 79 kilos and 61. I think American wrestling so deep right now. And with the situation that happened, if you medal, you're you're basically locking in two teams. And we have so much depth now, and we're building. We're a powerhouse and continuing to build and if not close the gap, widen the gap on these other countries.
Right.
But anytime you see a Dayton Fix or Graf and Jordan Burroughs and Alex Derringer, it just seems like them dudes attract more killers, right? And anytime they're in a weight class, there's eyes on
especially so I feel like with Jordan now, I feel like people are just like, oh, like he lost, like he's beatable. So people are trying to wrestle 79 to see it, like try to like challenge the man. And I think he's gonna win. But I think he's gonna look great actually.
I do too.
I was down there training with him. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, and he feels awesome. I mean, he's the king. He's the king for a reason.
Mhm.
Every time I
Yep.
wrestle him, I leave that first workout. Literally, and I remember telling Kenny when we wrestled 10 weeks, I think, before the Olympic trials. I left the first workout and I just looked at Kenny. I'm like, dude, there's levels to this. Like, there's levels to this shit. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, Burroughs is just somewhere on another level right now. Right after the first workout with him. And the same, as soon as I go down to Philly, I feel him. And now he's even bigger and more powerful, has more energy, more explosiveness, which is even scarier. You're like,
Oh yeah.
How does he get more explosive? Right. So
I was talking to Snyder. Well, I talk to Snyder every freaking day, but the other day we were talking about the trials and how JB might be. And I said, Derringer's going to be humongous. And he's like, Willie, he's like, it was a couple years ago. He's like, it was like 18, maybe 19. He's like, but we were out at the OTC and they wrestled matches and Jordan put it on Derringer like bad. He's like, I know.
I can see that.
He's like, I know it's a long time ago. And, he's like, but that's what I saw.
It's an interesting matchup.
And this is it. Every time a weight class like this happens, it's very touchy, right? I'm always around the Dake Derringer. Derringer is one of my best friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm always around the Dake Derringer, the Dake Burroughs, Derringer Burroughs now. I'm like, listen, I don't want to be involved. I love both of these guys.
Right.
They're absolute killers, right? Because, as soon as you post the picture, they see you training with somebody, low key, you get that little text that nobody knows about but you. That's like, also you're training the competition. Like, listen, I got to get better.
I think
too,
we
man.
all know about it now.
Yeah, it's like, yo, I got to get better too, right?
Right.
I think that's going to be a killer matchup. If I'm being a devil's advocate for Derringer, right? Sometimes guys come to camp
Right.
out
Yes.
of shape.
Absolutely.
I've been to camps a couple times out of shape. Jordan had mastered coming out of college and really, he was almost the blueprint for all of us. He showed the progression, but he really laid the blueprint of, okay, really living that life outside full time, all time, and really showed what, us Americans have the ability to do if we're committed fully 100% to living the lifestyle, and you can keep evolving. There's some times where we get to a level, where I get to a level where I'm feeling the greatest I'm at, right? And then like a couple weeks later, I continue training and I'm like, dang, I'm getting even better. Like I thought I hit the ceiling 3 weeks ago and I'm still pushing. Like there's still things I'm feeling that I'm keeping improving on and I keep, widening the gap on the competition or shaving off, a half second to get to my shots finishes. So I think them two, it's going to be a great matchup, right? Derringer's coming from 86, Burroughs from 74.
Yeah.
Derringer's,
I feel like, to me, Derringer, I don't want to say this incorrectly, but I almost feel bad for Derringer in the way that I felt bad that Dake never made a team for so long. I feel like Derringer's probably the best that got like squeezed out of these weight classes.
Yeah.
I feel like he's one of the best to not make a team or not win a trials,
Right, but I was in that boat too. I think there's a lot of guys
this year though.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys in that boat, but at the end of the day, us as competitors, and I'll take Soriano's slang from this as predators.
Yeah.
Right. It's our job to get the job done. Right. It doesn't matter who's there. Right. Wrestling any given day, somebody can be beat. Right. And sometimes we get caught up in all the hype and sometimes we put people on pedestals. But it comes down to as simple as this guy across the mat from me puts on the socks the same way I do and breathes the same air as I do. Right.
Yes, sir.
He's beatable. Mm-hmm. Right. So I just, John always taught me, right? It's not that you got to wrestle their style and beat them. You got to wrestle your style better than they wrestle their style. and give yourself the opportunity to win, period.
Yeah.
So, hey, real quick, back to Soriano. How do you see in that weight class playing out? Because I think I'm the most curious about that one, because there's just a bunch of dudes there.
Well, if I'm going to be a home fielder here, I'm saying Shelton Mack all day, right?
Yeah, let's go.
I think, and Shelton has proven himself, recently. He has some great wins.
Top 4 in the world right now.
In the world.
Right, and winning the Pan Ams, but you ask a person like me, Keatings aren't nothing but a number next to somebody's name, and you got a bunch of guys out there that may be wrestled, and some of them have been at a high level. But as we know, I'm not even in the top 20 in rankings, but I know I can beat the number 1 guy.
Right.
I know I could beat the number 2. It would be a good match. I think, especially if the younger generation listening to this, man, yeah, they earn their seed. Maybe they have great credentials, but I'm giving this guy no respect. I'm giving him no head start, right? So I got to approach every match the same. At 61 kilos, right? You have the head honcho coming back, really, who people kind of forgot about, which is Tyler Graff.
Right.
When's the last time Tyler Graff wrestled? It's been a minute, hasn't it?
I think it's Greco.
I think it's been a while.
I think he tried Greco, right? He went Greco for a while. I think maybe 2 years ago, or maybe
it's been a little bit.
But he hasn't really competed freestyle. But I've seen Graff being here and training with NJRTC. It's still Tyler Graff. He's still solid, strong, and he's a goer. But then you throw guys in the mix like Nick Soriano, who was, you can call a tweener, right, to make 57, but stayed committed, stayed disciplined, made 57, gave himself a shot. And it sucks what happened to him, but really gave himself an opportunity to represent the United States at 57 kilos, right? You throw a guy like that in the mix, and then you got Dayton Fix coming into the mix. Guys Vito. Like Seth Gross, Vito, and Vito, is Vito competing?
I thought I saw he was.
I heard he's out with COVID.
Yeah,
dude.
He tested positive for COVID. I didn't know the timeline on when he can come back.
I hope he does.
That's a bummer.
Vito, one of my favorite wrestlers.
He's fun to watch, man.
Quickest dude on the planet.
Oh yeah, he's good. But
he'll touch you like 4 times and fake 3 times before you can even blink. You're like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah.
Right. So I think if I'm gonna go 61, if I'm being a home fielder, I take Shelton. But you can't. You don't know who's going to show up in that field. Those guys, a Dayton Fix shows up. The Dayton Fix that takes you down, sinks the leg, and trap arms you. Guys are in trouble.
That dude's good.
They're dangerous.
Yeah,
right.
That dude's good.
Nick Soriano shows up. Nick Soriano has the opportunity to win it. I'm sorry, in New York there's train, so you might hear that. But it's if I'm gonna go out and pick who wins this, I would be given the nod towards a Dayton Fix and Nick Soriano, right? But Shelton is coming off wins recently, right? Being down.
Yeah.
Tyler Graff's coming off a medal. Even though he hasn't competed, he knows where he stands in the world and what he can do. But you can't overlook anybody. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody in the field that's a huge name.
I feel like I am too.
Isn't Garrett there?
Garrett's there. Gross is there.
Do you have it?
Garrett?
Yeah. They are both so. I mean, if they win it, if either one of them wins it, I'm not surprised.
No, any of those guys win, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Gross is so tricky.
Right.
Joe Cologne,
a lot of it.
NATO.
Joe Cologne. Come on.
Joe Cologne. Exactly. That's the one I'm forgetting. Like, this guy's a medalist too, but also he's a bear. The dude is so strong, and all of these guys have proven themselves. And it really comes down to, and it stinks to say it this way, it comes down the way they seed it and the way the stylistic matchups match up.
Whoa,
right?
I thought the seed was just a number in front of the name.
It is, but when you got some of these guys, styles mean everything.
I'm with you, J.O. I don't think that J.O. is saying that seeds seeds really matter, but the matchups, the path matters. Like if you seeded it one way, this guy will beat this guy. But if you seeded it a different way, the bracket would play out a totally different way, maybe.
Right. I think the matchups are big in this. Seeding and the number thing is really just, it's imaginary, right? It's a number next to a name. You know who you have, you know who he is. I'm more so saying it as, yes, I respect the guy, but I'm not going to give him the respect to where, okay, since you're the number one seed, you're almost kind of starting off 2-0, 3-0 against me, right? It's not an advantage. But in these weight classes, as we're seeing, you know, I might have the only weight class that we have hammers, but the depth that 61 and 79 have are outrageous.
Right.
Right. So I think
70's top heavy. Like,
so coming in, the matchups mean everything. Whereas you can kind of almost play out at 70, like my weight class, kind of who might match up and where the matchups might be.
You're right.
Right. When you look at 61 and 79, maybe 79 has two guys, but you still even got guys like Lawan that just drop bombs. Right. What if he catches somebody? And Jason, exactly right. And Marcel, you got guys in there that are capable of winning it if they have the best tournament in their life. Right?
I'm excited to see how Starachi does also.
He's a gamer. He is a gamer.
You know, and, why is it might have been said, I missed it. I talk to him every once in a while, but when I talked to him right after NCAAs about the Olympic trials, he said, no, but I'm going 61 in the fall. It's RBY, but now RBY is not going, right?
I don't think he is.
I think that staph infection kind of knocked him out.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Man, I thought I was
too many wings too. Too many wings for Roman.
But he could have gone 65, right? Because 65's open.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah.
I wanted to see Roman. I wanted to see Roman wrestle. I thought he could have been 65. He looks like he's building the frame to do so, but I think 61 would have fit perfectly for Roman.
He's 61. Yeah, like I feel like 57 is just like he doesn't want to do that. That would just be a little too much for him because I think he would lose some of his pop. Right. But 65, I think, is just too big of a, like, imagine Roman wrestling you.
Right.
Like
I get it.
Yeah, those are two
completely
different.
I'm seeing the cloudy skyline behind you. Did you get how did you get hit with that flood?
We did. It was crazy. I was literally sitting looking out the window, hoping because I moved. This is my building behind me. You can see it. It's Irby. I'm like hoping. I'm like a paranoid person, so I'm hoping. I'm like, what happens if this building starts going? Like, I gotta be, because we got a tornado warning, and I know what tornadoes can do, right? And we're right next to the water, right where they start. So I'm like, listen, I'm like planning my escape route to get down these steps because I'm on the 17th floor. I'm like, I'm gonna have to grab my little dog, throw my cat in the backpack, and we're out, right? But we got hit with the flood. It wasn't too bad. It was worse over in Hoboken and in the city area. Jersey City got more of just wind and things getting torn apart from the wind and rain, more so than the flood, which is a good thing for us. But I'm like, move here and this happens. I'm like, what did I do? I got to get my butt back to Chapel Hill.
Well, I mean, I know no one asked me, but I haven't seen rain in like 2 or 3 months. So,
well, Justin, you got
paradise.
It's
your
not bad.
Place flooded
bad.
Your place flooded months ago. Did it flood on this last time?
No, we didn't get any. We didn't get any rain from the hurricane up here.
You had bass in your basement, I thought.
We had a carp literally 2 feet outside our back door because where our property is, it's at the center of like farmland that goes down. So all the water drained, over flooded a creek that flooded the backyard. And we got to do a pool and everything back there where we'll do retaining walls to prevent that. We just had like record rain out of nowhere. And there was just no way to prepare for that. And we're looking outside and literally there's a school of 3 carp. that are coming up, swimming next to the sliding glass door in the basement, and then turning around and just going. I'm like, this is nuts. Water's
That would
no
have been
joke,
pretty
man.
cool. Hey, upstate has a way of just weather just comes out of nowhere. I remember when I moved there, it was sunny. The next day we had like a blizzard and you couldn't even get to practice. I had to wait for, luckily Yanni had a Jeep. I'm like calling Yanni. I'm like, dude, you got to come pick me up to get the workout. And Yanni ended up being my chauffeur, but to get the workout there. But upstate New York weather is no game. Right? If I have my choice, I'm going to Palo Alto or maybe back to Tempe.
Yeah, it's pretty nice out here in Palo Alto. Cole doesn't really complain about the weather too much.
I wouldn't
I can
imagine.
imagine that.
He seems to like it more than Ithaca so far. So,
Willie, what are you most excited for the team trials?
You know, the culmination. I just can't wait until
to hang out with me after the sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you joke about that, but
I'm not joking.
It's not joking.
It's been yeah, I said to somebody the other day that asked me if I was going, and I was like, if all else fails, you come to the Embassy Suites at about 1 a.m. It'll be me and Chris Perry closing up shop. Right? But you joke about hanging out and the COVID thing has been going on so long and so many things have been shut down and limited and whatever. Part of the thing for me is getting to rub elbows, getting to see people again,
mm-hmm.
you know? So I'm looking forward to that. But, you know, the wrestling is going to take care of itself. Every match is going to be awesome. There's going to be excellent matches from the first whistle to the last. And I'm just excited, as J.O. was saying, our depth in this country and coming off a successful Tokyo, a successful juniors, a successful cadets. I'm interested, you know, I can't wait to see what our final lineup looks like for Oslo.
Yeah. I think we're going to have a great team, man. I don't know. Like we've been talking about US wrestling. It's not, I don't think we're not closing the gap anymore. It's like, how good can we be? You know, can we pass Russia? Can we pass everybody else? You know, I don't like kind of what J.O. was saying earlier. I think it's going to be super exciting.
And I think the 10 weights give us a better opportunity to display our talents and, you know, guys coming up and what our guys can really do. With that being said, Russia's always going to be good. Right? So,
always.
It's good. It's a good problem to have, but I think, you know, us with 10 weight classes, we're the best country in the world.
I think so too.
I agree.
So we'll see. I think the world team trials are going to be exciting, but like Willie said, it's always good because we get to rub elbows. We get to see more life, and all of us are family. So as soon as we get together, it's like we never skip the beat, and it's a good time, right? And we get to watch what we love to watch, which is wrestling and guys competing for a world team spot.
Oh yeah.
When do you head out there?
I head Thursday.
Thursday.
Usually it would have been like a Wednesday, Tuesday if I was 65 kilos. But
we're get the weight down a little
70
bit.
kilos.
You're good now, chilling.
Getting acquainted, you know, stay home an extra day, be comfortable, fly out, get in and you know, lace up the boots, get ready to work.
Heck yeah!
I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Is Coffee Daddy Vincenzo?
I'm Coffee Daddy.
I'm seeing this name pop up. I'm like, who is it?
You know, I had to set it right before Willie told me how to change my name, so I just figured I'd be Coffee Daddy for today.
I like that. I like that.
It was just Daddy originally, but I was like, that's a little too straightforward. we'll be Coffee Daddy. I'm gonna slam a coffees in here. So
I like that. Coffee Daddy in the morning, Daddy by nighttime.
I love it. Willie, I was just telling Corby exactly what you said. Like the reason I wanted to go to team trials the most was to talk to people, because I rather watch wrestling at home I'd rather fire up the Traeger, smoke meat, sit there. If you're working, if you're covering stuff, it's so much easier at home. But to get to see the athletes here and there, to talk to people like you and others, and like NCAA is going to get a meal in between rounds and then going out after, like that's the experience. And I think COVID, like it sucked not having that.
Well, as a journalist too, there's things that happen. There's things that happen on the ground. Like when I do recruiting stuff for recruiting purposes, I'd rather be at Ironman. I'd rather be at Fargo.
Yeah.
I'd rather be at Super 32 because so much of what I put into my sort of recipe or, formula into projecting how kids are going to be or what their long-term efficacy is going to be has a lot more to do with their body language, how they act, how they interact with people. I mean, wins and losses, you can read them off a screen, right? You can go to Track Wrestling or Flow Arena and say, okay, here's the results. They're going to be pretty good. But if the kid acts like a doofus, I don't like him. If the kid acts, really good with his coach, if he listens to his coaches,
makes sense.
I mean, I remember, Jordan, you remember this kid, or Cenzo, you remember this kid, Steve Spearman.
Of course. He was so good, but he wrestled from a knee and
right. But listen, this is what I'm saying. Like, I remember one time at Ironman, he stole somebody's t-shirt and they were like, yo, bro. And I was like, yo, I got reservations about this kid, right?
Yeah.
That's something I can't see in a box score. Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And like, so, right. When you go to the event, maybe you're standing there right next to a mat and you're, talking to, I don't know, somebody just comes across and it's Tony Ursulin from Purdue. And we're saying, how's things going? How's Schroeder looking? Well, he's a little dinged up right now. Okay. Now when I do my next show, I could say, I don't know how Schroeder's going to perform because I know, right? You pick up these little tidbits. Or even in recruiting, you might come across Tim Flynn, and Flynn will say, "Hey, I got this good one coming. We're getting a good recruit next week," and so it plants a seed, right? But anyway, you pick up these little tidbits that kind of help you as a journalist,
right? And like even for me too. So like I was out at Fargo, and like if I'm watching a kid, and I'm like, oh, like this dude's good, but he's taking just as much injury time as long as the match is, then like that says a lot.
Yep.
And I think being there in person, being able to see it's definitely, I mean, yeah, you can watch everything, on TV or whatever, but like being there in person and getting the actual feel for it and like, seeing behind the scenes stuff, I think is super important also.
Oh man, you would have missed some of the prime Easton wrestlers if you would have just saw the injury time. We called it the helicopter.
Yeah, the whirly bird.
Right? Get the helicopter going.
Yeah, you guys stole that from Jersey.
Jersey Twisted.
Yeah.
So Bash, what are you grilling? You grilling out for 100 people tomorrow?
Catering.
Really?
I'm not grilling.
Oh, you're not getting it done?
No.
You can do it though.
Too many people. Way too many. Like 20 people, that's fun to throw a bunch of baby backs on, some brisket, pork shoulders, whatever. 100 people, too many. One of my clients is an amazing caterer. They have a food truck. So we got a food truck coming. J.O. says he's going to crash it.
That's the way to do it. Yep.
J.O.'s going 79.
Hey, don't put it past me. I can get to 86.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's not do that right now. I'll tell you what, I weighed shoot, after the first year, right? After I've already spoken on this to y'all, right. I believe. As soon as they postponed the Olympics, I went into a lifting phase right before I had to wrestle Jason. And I was easy 186, 187.
Oh my gosh.
Right? I was sitting down sweating. Felt great. But
that's kind of what I'm getting at right now. I need to start bringing it back down. You never know, right?
You got to enjoy it. You got to enjoy it for a bit, and then it'll start coming off. Hopefully, if not,
hopefully,
then you really got to dial it in.
Yeah. For me, it's it got to be doubted. It doesn't come off on its own. Yeah.
Same way. But
hey.
Yeah, well, we were thinking about doing instead of the Wedding Crashers, we were gonna do, BASCH Crashers.
BASCH Crashers.
I'm here for it. I'm 100% here for it.
It's a short drive, so don't put it past me.
Hey, we'll be here. I'll text you the address.
You send me that address, and I might just be popping up, little tuxedo. I might dress as a Wedding Crasher.
That'd be legendary.
I'll be there in spirit. And never mind. Actually, I had nothing to say there. I had nothing to say there.
Well, you were supposed to be here next weekend, Cenzo, for the Bills Steelers game, and then
I know I got a little caught up.
Taking a job across the country, kind of toward that. USA Wrestling moving the World Team Trials this week and kind of messed that up. But
Jordan, you get into you do any fantasy drafts?
I did one. I got another one coming up in Crutchmer's league.
Okay.
But I'm in the first league we did. It's like me, Vince Jones, Burrows. I don't know if you remember John Burns.
John Burns was a North Carolina kid,
and ended up going to Nebraska and then went back. Dude's a stud. He was down there in North Carolina when I was there. He's doing very well, and we all kept in touch. And he has a kind of a league, and I get in. Sometimes I get caught up of taking the big names, right? And I'm a Cowboys fan, so if I can get like Ezekiel Elliott or one of the top Cowboys, I'm a sucker to grab them.
I took Zeke and David Taylor's league, but that league's 14 teams deep.
It's crazy. His league's nuts.
Yeah, I think it's really tough. Well, so
I got to draft in an hour, actually.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Bash wants in.
Bash, you're a Bills fan. I'm a Washington football team fan.
Redskins?
That's tough.
Yeah. I stick with them. Right?
Willie, if you want to come up here, Washington's at Buffalo. I've got season tickets.
Are they?
Yeah.
I need the Steelers or the Cowboys to come out to San Francisco to play, but
you Cowboys fan?
I just want to watch my boy Micah. That's really it.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily a Cowboys fan, but yeah, I want to watch that dude play though.
There's what tournament is in? Oh, Cliff King, Las Vegas. Are you guys there?
We're working on it. Yeah. There's a
Cliff
good
King,
chance.
Las Vegas, the day after the Redskins play at the Raiders. I might be down for that.
Oh, all right. We'll look into that.
I'm thinking about going to the Cliff Kings. I have a feeling that's going to be just a great time.
It's going to be lit. Hey, Jo, do you still talk to Des Bryant at all?
Here and there, not really anymore though. When things are going on, when he went to the Ravens, reached out, said congratulations. Turns around when, I made the Olympic team. Guys always check in. Cowboys always check in on Cowboys. So
yeah, that was your guy, right? You guys are pretty tight.
Yeah, that was my guy, Des. I was in that era where Zach Robinson, Des Bryant, O'Kong, Parrish Cox, Kendall Hunter. We had some big names that all came out. Across the board. Basketball with Marcus Smart and Markel Brown, guys like that. But yes, I was cool with Des and Blackman and those guys. I was a huge football fan, right? When you go to college, the football games are everything.
Oh, yeah.
And you're in college and it just so happened when I was there, we had a good team.
Mm-hmm.
With some studs.
Oklahoma State play this weekend, football?
They did.
Yeah. They beat like Missouri State or something.
Yeah.
Hey, how about that Penn State football game?
Classic Penn State heart attack.
I didn't see it.
That was beautiful.
Great game to take the under on.
Really ugly 16-10.
Oh, see, you got to learn from Oklahoma State. We go and grab a team and just run 55 points on it.
Yeah. Well,
go grab Big 12, team, run 55.
Big 12 doesn't play defense. So,
if you're scoring, doesn't matter. You're scoring.
Yeah, it's just like, all right. It's like whoever can score the most,
Well, hell, they're
55 to
Clemson,
54.
Georgia was number 3 and 5 in the country last night, and there wasn't
game ever.
Wasn't an offensive touchdown.
Yeah.
They should have put him in parterre.
Right.
Yeah, that game was brutal.
My gosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why you need to go get a team to run 55 on.
Yeah.
But
Little warm up. Not bad.
Buffalo
little warm
did that
up,
yesterday.
little confidence booster.
Buffalo beat Wagner like 70-7 or 69-7 or something.
Buffalo.
Is that fun?
I don't know.
It's fun for them.
Watch somebody put up 70 points.
Buffalo's at Nebraska this weekend.
Yeah.
And we'll all be there. But it's funny that some of the teams
Game day in Lincoln.
Like Alabama next week plays Mercer.
Why?
Why?
Why? That's like Penn State wrestling, like Buffalo or something like that.
Ooh, shots fired at Buffalo.
Hey, they wrestled all their backups against us. What do you want me to say?
Well, you do. Penn State does wrestle Sacred Heart this year.
There you go. Wow.
The next day after those matches, everybody feels like King Kong. That's how. What game were we just talking about? So Buffalo right now feels like King Kong about to head to Nebraska.
Yeah.
And play.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing until, hopefully it goes well, but reality might just sink in. And Nebraska might show them why they're Nebraska in a Big Ten school.
Yeah, that might happen. I've heard good things about Lincoln on game day, though. So I'm kind of excited for that, too. Not just, apart from the wrestling.
It's going to be wild because, Nebraska draws a crowd like any big school, really. But Nebraska draws a big crowd. They say that Lincoln, the stadium, Memorial Stadium, just the stadium, just the people in the stadium on game day makes it the third most populated spot in the state on game day.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only 100,000 people, but they draw for any game, and they're going to draw for Buffalo. But we're going to have the Pinnacle Bank Arena right across the street from the stadium. World Team Trials and the football game going on.
Mm-hmm.
The Haymarket's going to be bonkers.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. That's what I was saying.
We need to figure out a way to put semifinal matches on the field before the game.
Yeah.
I don't see why they wouldn't do that.
They just had, what? And that's stupid too.
I don't see one reason. Yeah, why not?
Justin, you're doing those. You commented about the mask thing. Like, they just had 100,000 people in Memorial Stadium for a Garth Brooks concert, no masks.
Would you see Wisconsin like doing the jump around? And that was the first thing I said. Like, my first thought was, this is so cool. My second thought was, this has got to be hated by many.
Yeah.
Well, you saw at Virginia Tech, like that was nuts too.
Yeah.
Just like I love it. I think it's awesome. We're getting back a little bit, but
yeah,
it was amazing to start seeing the traditions. College football traditions are just like as America as it gets.
Yeah,
for real. All right. I know we're not really working with them at the moment, but I think some word association with Willie has to be in play here.
All right, I'm in.
All right.
I need to think. I need to gather my thoughts for a minute here, and
all right,
about
I'll
what
go
I'm going
first.
with.
I'll go first. So, Willie, you know our word association game, right?
I think so.
We just throw a word at you, and you just have to say absolutely the first word that comes at you, whatever it is.
J.O., you're in on this too. You're throwing words at Willie also. You got three of us now.
Okay, wait. What is this game? I didn't see this game.
Okay. It's word association. So we're going to throw a word at Willie, and Willie has to just fire back the first
thing
word
that comes to your mind.
That comes to his mind.
Budweiser might be the answer for every single one.
For all, that's what I was thinking. That was actually going to be my first word. Was actually Budweiser. So,
all right, Cenzo, you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, AJ
Ferrari. See how this works.
Crazy. He's crazy, and the thing about it is, he's polarizing, right? Like some people love him, some people hate him. Some people hated him in the beginning, and then they grew on him. The funny thing about AJ Ferrari and Cenzo said about WWE, that dude stays in character. It's not a character.
It's not a character. It's him.
We had him on here, and literally as soon as we got done recording the episode, me and Cenzo called each other, and we're like, There's no on-off switch. That is
no,
him.
that's him.
Like 100%, that's him. And
Yeah.
that's what I don't think people realize.
That's what I love about him too. Is that's him.
I know, you gotta love it.
All right, mine is Bud Heavy.
The king of beers.
All right.
I swear, when I was a kid, I don't know if my dad made me or whatever, but the label, I know the whole thing. This is the famous Budweiser beer. We know of no other brand produced which costs so much to brew and age. Our exclusive Beechwood aging provides a taste, a smoothness, and a drinkability you will find in no other beer.
That's crazy.
Tell me you're reading that.
No, he's not reading. He's not reading.
I wish I had a Budweiser.
That's memory.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Gosh.
I memorized it.
Well, can mine be like a? Can I?
You can say whatever you want.
Willie in a spot? Yeah.
Yeah.
Willie, you know I love you.
Yeah.
But this weekend it comes to Oliver Green.
I got JL.
I had to put you there.
I got you.
You know, I got nothing but love for you. Nothing but love for Greasy's my dog too.
Greasy.
But I just know Nebraska, Brian, we all have a tight knit. I want to poke
I know.
at you.
Brian, dude, Brian loves you. You know that.
Oh yeah. Short little story. Before the Olympic team trials, Brian walked into he might have told you about it. He walked into our hotel and had this sick Adidas hat on. Never seen it.
Yes.
So I walked up to him and I'm like, Brian, how about you let me have that hat since I'm an Adidas guy? He goes, I'll tell you what, you win the Olympic team trials, I'll give you this hat. And I was like, Brian, don't say another word. I'll see you later. And just left. Won the trials 1 week later, and the hat showed up. It's up in my house, actually. I got it. I'll bring it on next time when I come home with you guys. I'll be wearing it.
Yeah. Very cool.
It's like a hot pink, neon green, and bright orange. It's like right up my alley.
I've never seen the hat.
That sounds perfect for Justin too.
I've never seen the hat, but he told me that story.
I was pumped. So I got a hat and a spot on the Olympic team that weekend, which was cool.
It's a good weekend.
That's
a good weekend.
Not bad.
It's a funny thing with you, man, because I love you, and I'm almost, I don't want to say delusional, but you're like my Ditka, like Jo versus Sedgelayev. Like I will really like think about it and be like, yeah, Jo got this.
You know, if you think about the matchup, Jo is just a little too quick for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just.
I got him. I'm telling you. Yeah. You give me another postponement and a couple weeks of creatine and lifting, and he cuts back down to 86.
Yeah,
we got a match on our hands, boys.
I think we should do one more round.
No, we got to do at least one more round.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Karen from Flo.
Evil. You gotta be a certain type of evil to like prosecute, like to press that hard on somebody, you know. If you try to destroy somebody's life that you know you shouldn't be, that's evil.
Yeah,
I've never seen a bigger villain rise quicker in America. Karen trying to persecute you.
Yeah,
prosecute.
Karen.
I mean,
Karen,
no amount of money. I couldn't do that for any amount of money.
Damn, Karen. All right, my next one. This is a good one too. Right. Thomas Gilman.
Cerebral.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Love that.
Oh yeah. He just like, I don't know. He turned into like a hero at the Olympics.
Yeah. I mean, he's so damn close to beating Yaguyev. And
so freaking close, man. Oh.
And I think that if you gave me a little bit more time to think about it, and I just didn't blurt out the first thing I said,
all right,
I would say,
fun of it.
I would say, if I had to do it over, I would say good person. I think Thomas Gilman's salt of the earth person, and I think he's going to do,
the more you talk to Gilman, the more you love the kid.
Yeah.
He's gonna fit in great out in Palo Alto. I keep telling him that. So I'm just trying to speak it into existence. But yeah.
PG's the man. I got one for you. See what
Right.
you.
I like this game.
This one is always gonna hit. Pat Downey.
The first word out of my mouth is soft spot. I have a soft spot for Pat. That doesn't necessarily. I guess that's the first phrase I thought of. Doesn't necessarily describe Pat. It describes my feelings on Pat. I think that Pat has some demons, and he does a lot of shit that he shouldn't do. But I also know that deep down inside, Pat has a big heart.
Yes, he does. Very authentic.
I've heard that as well. Is he wrestling next weekend?
He's registered.
79 kilos.
Yeah,
He registered.
He's not making that. There's no way,
No.
right? He's not making that. That has to be a troll or something.
If he does,
He keeps
he's gonna be a
tweeting it.
big boy.
He's gonna be huge. He wrestled 197.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see it. He's flip flopping those numbers. He's punching 79 now.
So I'm not gonna lie. My second one, it was either gonna be Thomas Gilman or Pat Downey. So you can't. If we were doing three, you took my third.
I know. I know Pat. I don't. Let me clarify because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I know Pat does a lot of things, a lot of bad things shouldn't do. I mean, he's at a casino the night before he's supposed to come back to the wrestling team. He does this and does that.
He's just himself.
Yeah, I'm not asking for latitude for Pat Downey for doing what some of us would consider knucklehead things. I'm saying Pat has some problems, and I'm asking for latitude for that because Pat's a good person, but he needs the right environment, and he needs certain things.
Yeah, I mean, I was buzzed with Provisor when he was in State College, and he's told me strictly good things about Pat, and pretty much the same type of thing. He means well. He's a good heart, and he just gets caught up sometimes.
Yep, he does.
I'm big PD3 fan. Pat's my guy. I just think.
Do you think he's going to make 79?
I hope. I want to see Pat at 79 just to have
gosh.
Pat Downey in the mix.
What if he had Burroughs
bombs.
Downey first round?
Oh my goodness. Oh my
I
goodness.
can't.
He's already been tweeting about it.
Remember at the peak of Downey mania when he was just tweeting all kinds of stuff, how he's gonna beat everybody's ass and nobody knows, and then he go on Instagram and videotape a blowjob. and then
the picture
he
put up last week was kind of hilarious too.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't.
Jo knows what I'm talking about.
I didn't see it.
Oh, I'll see
now
if I can find it. I'll see if I can
about
find
to
it.
go run back.
I'll send it to you guys.
So at the peak of Downey mania, and then he went to the U.S. Open and did the damn thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he beat Gabe Dean. Oh man,
that was
so
an
great.
AJ Ferrari type run, right? That's what made it impressive about AJ. Is I see AJ, and AJ's just himself, and he walks with that swag. I always wondered. I would always text Zach and him and be like, "How's John handling this?" even him saying OSU gang, I'm like, "Oh my goodness, John is gonna be like, hey, you need to let go of that hip hop lifestyle." You know what I mean? And
how did you feel, Jo? How did you feel during the Olympics with John on the mic? That was pretty cool, right?
John is very straightforward, right? I love hearing John on the mic, and then it was awesome to hear John with Jordan Burroughs,
yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Two people that I hold close to my heart that I've got to know very, very well, and they're very good acquaintances of mine. And they're both the GOATs. They're two GOATs of our sport, and just I would love to have been in a room with them.
I think
not
they
even
crushed
just
it.
the commentating, but the conversations in between the commentating, things that we're not hearing, and them just being able to be themselves and really they're probably bouncing wrestling IQ and just mentality and everything about wrestling in the sport.
I loved when Jordan said, "Scared money don't make none," and and John was like, "Well, I never heard that before. That's I like that one."
That was the best.
I just thought,
I like that one.
I just thought, man, there is generation coming together. That's so beautiful.
Right.
And it was so authentic. He's like, wait, what's that? Scared money? You can't make money? I like that.
Yeah.
Very country with it.
Yeah.
Country with it.
One time at Junior Worlds 15, 14, it was in Macon, France. And they don't draw a lot of people. Junior Cadet Worlds, there's not a big crowd. And I was sitting I went up and sat right now, or John came down to me actually. And it was just me and him watching matches for an hour or two together. And it was one of the most rewarding things of my life, is to just sit with John Smith and hear him talk about wrestling. Just me and him, unfiltered. It's one of the coolest things.
Yep. He can tell you almost like what's going to happen, what's going through the guy's mind, like emotionally, physically. He's like, oh, this guy's about to break. Sure enough, you'll see a guy crumble. But he is one of the best wrestling minds just to be around in general. That's why him and Burroughs together, and I talk to Burroughs a lot, and I take a lot from Burroughs just because obviously he's been where I want to go. I think it would have been absolutely amazing to be in that room with them two and hearing some of the topics and conversations they had about their runs and what to look forward to, and even just what John's saying to Jordan on these next couple of years of chasing down the goal. Right? I think you would just a ton of knowledge being thrown around that room, and just views that anybody can learn from.
Yeah, I agree. And I think too, like, John didn't stop. Like, it's one thing when you hop in for like some of the bigger matches, like every single women's freestyle, men's freestyle, Greco, every single match he was into and gave like good commentary. Like, they're like similar to AJ, where there's no on-off switch. Like with John, there's no on-off switch.
They're
if there's
pretty much the
wrestling
same person,
of any kind, he's watching and he's into it.
I went to remember when Oklahoma State and NC State went to Italy a couple years ago, wrestled a folk style dual meet during the season. It was really interesting to me because there are advocates for women's wrestling that say the right things. We need women wrestling. And, I'll be frank. There was a point in time, maybe like 10 years ago, where I was saying that women's wrestling needs to grow, largely because I thought it would help the whole sport, the men too.
Yeah.
Now I'm a genuine fan of it. And so at some points you never really know if a person likes women's wrestling or is saying it because it's politically correct or saying it for ulterior motives because it could help the men's sports.
Yep.
But I saw John Smith at a practice, and this is a club practice in Naples, Italy, and the practice is over. But John's like wrestling and teaching these 12-year-old girls. And that's when I knew John is authentically just loves women's wrestling, loves the sport. It was really nice to see. I mean, here's a legend, worldwide legend, and he genuinely cares.
Yeah, like that's just like, there's no ego there, right? There's no anything like, I'm above teaching, these 12-year-old girls. Like you truly love it. You truly love, sharing your knowledge. Like that's what you do. And from the sound of it.
But to y'all's point, I don't know if it was J.O. or Justin, but there is a generational thing there, right? Like J.O., when you were with John, it was a certain way, and society was a certain way, and
Right.
college athletics was a certain way in that, you know, the institutions and the coaches sort of had all the power, and now we're at a time where people have bigger personalities. There's an NLI, there's a transfer portal that basically says if you ain't happy, you can go wherever you want. And John now has to adapt to AJ Ferrari being
right.
AJ Ferrari, right? As opposed to, I don't know, somebody in the late 90s who John says jump and you say how high.
Correct. No, didn't matter. Whatever John said went. But you got to see, like, nowadays, like Twitter and Instagram are so big, like social media platforms, and people to be themselves. That was just coming on, like getting big when I was in college. I remember, even having to do little video clips with Coach. We were talking to our fans, OSU fans, and remember he did one clip. He was like, "Hey, to all you tweeter fans," and I had to stop him. I'm like, Coach, it's not tweeter, it's Twitter. He's like, Twitter? Okay. We had to redo it, right? So definitely times have changed. But I think, a guy like AJ Ferrari, and I know what John's thinking. John's like, man, I'm going to let you talk the talk, but you better walk the walk. And as long as you're walking the walk, you can do.
He texted me that his phone was at 2%. So I knew that was going to happen. But what I was actually just going to say too, that's seemingly what I think is going to happen with Kale too, where
it already is.
The guys that are winning, like I know Kale's not a big fan of social media and being out there, but when you have like David Taylor doing it and winning world and Olympic gold, RBY doing it, winning NCAA championships, it seems like that's going to be the mindset for some of the older school style coaches, where it's, you can do this if you're winning. If you're not, we're going to have to reevaluate it, I would assume.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's a mark of a wise coach, a coach that has longevity. I mean, you have to, I guess in any walk of life, really, if you're going to have longevity, if you're going to have staying power, if you're going to continue to be successful, you have to continue to adapt. And if John has this uber extrovert like AJ Ferrari is, instead of squashing that like maybe some other coaches would and stifling that, you just set some ground rules. Listen, you're gonna be able to do this. You want to do that? You got to run stadiums, right? I mean, you got to lift, you got to put in the hours, and
they should make him run as many stadiums as possible.
And like Kale, I mean, I don't know 100% if this was calculated, but Kale adopted ROKFIN with the murmurs of the NLI coming, right? Mm-hmm. And that was a wise decision. Not only wise in the sense that Kale's creating his own channel and his own revenue stream for Nittany Lion Wrestling Club. Not only is he getting into crypto, not only is the backdrop to NLI, whereas other athletes can do it, right? So I think that was a little bit of innovation by Kale too, because nobody at that point have ever done it.
Yeah, Kale's actually very innovative, like outside the wrestling room, like with wrestling, but he's just very quiet about it, so you don't know about it. But he's very, very.
He is always working on something. Yeah. He really is. But yeah, just like and I remember our early talks about our first like ROKFIN event and everything like that, and it was just super cool because we were kind of one of the first clubs to start doing that, and it just kind of took off from there, and then everyone started having them. I wonder if those are going to pop back up, right, like after the trials or next year or something. It's like who knows, and they
there are there are duels this year that are
we had a couple over the summer, like the past like month. We had a few just for our guys to get like an actual like match in or something like that, right?
Yeah, but there's gonna, like, I think the ones that have been successful on ROKFIN, like NLWC, will continue to do those because I think they saw the fruits of their labor,
right,
in getting return on it. But also, like there's duels. There are college actual duels that are going to be on ROKFIN this year with the proceeds going to their university. So, yes, I think we'll see club cards, but also I think these schools are dipping their toes in the water, like the collegiate duels that are going to be in Florida. Those guys all those universities are getting a share of those, of whatever subscription money comes in, right? So, typically it's like, and I'm not knocking any other tournament because no other tournament has ever done this, but usually it's like, okay, come to the Midlands and you pay for your flights and your hotels and you pay for your entry fee. This is the first tournament in college wrestling history that they're getting money back. You get paid to go there.
Yeah.
So
that is interesting. That's very different, but hey, I'm all for it. If it generates more money for wrestling, count us in.
Yeah. Cenzo, who you taking with the first pick in your draft, dude?
Dude, I was about to just like, I'm thinking about it right now. I'm probably got to sign off here soon. And
you got to draft.
I know I would draft soon.
I have you two.
I don't even know what pick I am. Like I'm straight up winging this one. I have my big draft on Tuesday, but this is some of our. So this is like me, a few of the RTC guys, our athletic trainer, and then just like a few other random people. Luke Gardner's in it, because why not? Someone needs to come in last. So like,
shots fired. Well, I love it.
Yeah, who you got any? Who you got for me, sleeper wise?
Josh Allen.
Yeah, that's a sleeper.
I had Josh Allen last year. Of course, in David's league this year, we had a draft. We're all like geared up, like let's have the draft now, which I wanted, and we had the draft. And then 2 days later, J.K. Dobbins is out for the year, and of course, I took J.K. Dobbins. I'm gonna tell you who to take. Take Marquez Callaway. Saints wide receiver. Take him late. Sleeper.
Okay. Got you. It's done.
We're going to make sure we delay putting this out until your draft.
Yeah.
Nobody listening.
It's already does. Well, draft's going to happen.
Yeah, his draft's in like an hour.
Yeah.
Not even.
Probably 10 minutes
like,
now.
No, it's in like 20 minutes. So, all right.
Guys, listen, go prepare.
Right,
Willie, thank you.
Hey, I love this. We got to do this again at any time.
Let's do this
anytime. Anytime, dude. You're so available. You're so available.
No, I know.
Willie, you took 50 texts.
I was gonna ask you. So, with work with Intermat, you're talking about your team and everything like that. Like, is that forcing you to be more on a schedule?
No, and see, the thing
it's making things. It just makes things worse.
a little bit. But I knew that coming in. I know that. I know my strengths and weaknesses. My weaknesses, I mean, I get it like a million texts.
My weakness is that I care too much.
Yeah, that was Dwight Schrute. No, that was Michael Scott.
Michael Scott when he went for the job.
Yeah.
I think it was, well, those are my strengths actually.
Greatest
care too much. I try too hard. It's not even the best comedy show of all time.
What's the best comedy show?
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
No, Office way better.
You know what? I've never watched Curb Your Enthusiasm, and you know what else I've never watched is
Curb's way funnier than The Office.
It's Always Sunny.
Always Sunny is funnier than The Office too.
It is.
Yeah.
I just can't see how anything's funnier than The Office.
No, The Office is all time.
I just named 2 shows that are funnier than The Office. I can name a few more also.
I'll try them out, but no, I knew that about myself, and especially knowing myself and then starting Mat Scouts. And then being successful at Mat Scouts. Listen, I'm doing pretty damn well at Mat Scouts.
See, looks like
business wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
A winner's
and
win.
So between
that's what we do.
Between my habits and running my own thing and the pandemic hit where there was basically no schedule for anybody, I knew before I was taking over Intermat that I needed to be almost hands off of Intermat. So I need to hire somebody that's going to be on top of it, take care of everything, rely on me for almost nothing. And that's why I got Earl. That's why I got Earl. Earl's like, you know, that's a ship that runs itself.
That's awesome.
But I heard you respond to emails. Good.
I do respond to emails.
Shoot us your email.
Right.
whenever you don't answer my text, I'll just shoot you an email. All right, boys. I do need to run. So
all right,
guys. That's Baschamania 135.
Hey,
thanks for having me.
Coffee Daddy.
And the beat goes on.